All righty.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Friendship Friday with your girlfriends. This is Sabrina, all the way from Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
It's Katrina from sunny California.
It's Chrisette, all the way from Detroit, Michigan.
And it's Nora, all the way from the big city of Stone Mountain, Georgia.
All right. Happy Friday, you guys. You made it through another week. Give yourself a round of applause. You know what? It takes a lot of strength, stamina, all that to get to the end of the week. So we're happy you made it. We're happy to join with you today to get ready for the weekend. Yay for the weekend. Oh, I remember when I worked for somebody else, I used to live for Friday. That was my favorite day of the week. But thank the Lord that I work for myself, and so I no longer have to live for the weekend. But it's something about Friday that is always exciting. And so I'm glad to be here with you, girlfriends. Glad to be here with you. We're going to jump right in. You guys, today's topic is student safety. Are our children safe? Recently in the news, there's been, my goodness, where you live, Nora, a college student at Clark University was found murdered. Apparently her roommate and her boyfriend killed her. That's just so sad. And then we recently had yet another school shooting in California at a high school. It's just very sad, very, very sad. It makes my heart sad. I have children. We all have children. You wonder if they're going to be okay. Chrisette and I were talking earlier. It was like one thing was to drop your kids off at school, to take them to school, to see them on their way as they mature into young adults. Now you drop them off at elementary and don't know if they'll be okay. So let's open up the conversation, you guys. What are your thoughts about all that's going on in the schools with killings of our young people?
Sabrina, I was thinking the conversation that we had, and as women of faith and women of prayer, I just know like never before, you cannot no longer take for granted that you drop your elementary school, junior high school, and, those that go away to college. You can no longer just take it for granted that when you drop them off, they'll be coming home. And so I just think from a spiritual standpoint that we have to saturate and cover our children in prayer and even teach them how to pray. Many times when those mass shootings take place, and even hearing some of the students talk about, what was going through their mind in California, this recent shooting, that one of the young men that was on one of the teams said that, coach had them all together and led them in a word of prayer, and that's what calmed them down. So I think from a spiritual perspective, we really need to pray for our schools, our children, and just pray that God will keep his angels of protection encamped about them. So I think that is one of the very powerful things that we can do, given the climate that we're in.
I mean, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I pray for my grandchildren every day, and I ask God to send his warriors to protect them and camp them around the schools. And I agree, when you just like, what do? You're at that point, you just have to. And I think it gives you that peace and it calms you down, and just know that they're covered. And we have to walk by faith and not by sight, and trusting God that God will, cover them and secure them, and that they will be safe. And especially in this environment, because you just don't know. The Bible talks about the enemy, he lurking like a lion to devour. And so those are our children, especially as believers. We have to know that his attack is on all children, especially our children. And so you're right, Chris, we have to teach our children how to pray and cover each other, and cover our children and even ourselves. I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen. The state of the mind of people in this world today is just so evil. And so it's frightening. It can be frightening. And so we want our children to know that that we are praying for them and that they are covered. So I agree with you, Chris, 100%.
And I think it's, so much of it is I have learned from you guys, because you don't want to give your children a spirit of fear, but you want them to be wise. They need to have a different level of wisdom than they've had before. See something, say something, again, I'm just so grateful as a grandmother who works from home, because it's just the ability to be able to be there at the moment's notice. It's challenging. My grandchildren, not all of them have parents that can take them to school and pick them up from school. And public transportation, although a lot of people use it in Chicago, it's just not just even when the school bus drops you off, just the walking from where they have to get from the bus stop to home. If they're not in the best neighborhood, it could be challenging. So prayer is important, but you have to give them a new level of wisdom. And so I'm noticing how important it is for the older kids to be there with the younger kids, but there's just at every level, it's just, who would have thought you would have to have that conversation with them? We have to have the conversation with our young African-American men, and then we got to have a conversation about guns and safety. It really is a lot. It's a lot.
You hit a good point, Katrina, and I think that it goes back to the old days when our parents and grandparents were growing up and how kids would walk together. I think sometimes you have to go back to something that really worked, and maybe the neighborhoods and the parents getting together, making sure that the kids walk together, that no child is walking by themselves or left by themselves. I mean, we just have to take a different set of precautions. We have to be so aware of our surroundings and things that are happening with our children and with ourselves. And, it's just, walking with a secure mind of security for each other. And I just think that that's something that we need to go back and teaching our kids and even women. If we're going somewhere, I'm not walking by myself. I'm walking with you. We're making sure, and you get in your car and then you drive me to my car. You know what I mean? Before there was a time we just walked, but I believe in this day and time, those times are over,
Yeah, but I'm not even talking about the walk to school. I'm talking about once you get in a safe environment like school. Schools are no longer safe. Churches are no longer safe. Grocery stores are no longer safe. The movie theater is no longer safe. Honestly, when I go into Walmart now, I'm looking around. It's no longer safe. The times we live in are different. I so get that. We've got to do something with mental health. I know it's a problem. I think it goes unnoticed. I think when you see something, say something. When somebody is acting not themselves, when they isolate themselves, when somebody barricades themselves in a room, somebody in that house has got to know, find out what that person is thinking or doing. Mm-hmm. I just think we as individuals have got to be vigilant for our community's well-being. And maybe we're at a time where we have to have security checks at the church doors, security checks in the schools. I'm ready for that, you guys. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for a different kind of gun reform. We can no longer just sit back and put up when something happens. Pray for the city of Dallas. Pray for the city of St. Louis. Pray for Sausalito, California. I'm tired of just praying. We've got to be of action. We must be of action.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you think about how much we go through when we get on a plane, and honestly, it seems less safe, like you said, when we just go to the grocery store. And so it might get to that point.
I think the point you made is good, Sabrina. I think what those kinds of conversations do is, to me, this is just me now, it diminishes prayer. Because people say, well, that's, they say pray about it. And I do believe that without works is dead. And so we do have to take action. We have to, I love Psalms 32:8, where God says, I will instruct you and teach you and show you in the way that you should go, and I shall watch over you and guide you with my eyes. And so we have to take the wisdom and the knowledge that we have, and we have to put things in place. We don't want to say it. We don't want people to think, that we're diminishing prayer. We're not diminishing prayer, but we're taking action. We have to take action to protect ourselves. And I believe that we serve a God that would want us to do that. That's why he gives us wisdom and knowledge and with technology and the things that we need to have to protect ourselves. So I agree with you 100%.
And I don't think it's diminishing prayer either, but let's be clear, some people say it and they ain't really prayed.
That's
Okay?
right.
That's the part that gets to me, is when it's a cliche. You ain't prayed for nobody. Okay. I'm not trying to be judgmental, but I just think sometimes people just, it's the thing to say.
When
But
you're
did you
doing
really
your
pray?
actions and everything you're doing, you're buying guns, you're supporting those that support guns, and so you're just talking out of two sides of it.
We just have a couple more minutes, and so girlfriend Chrisette, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think that, with the climate that is just so apparent that things have changed, having those conversations with our children, so that the Bible says to watch as well as pray. So
Yeah.
I think it is important. No longer can you just send, your child off or take them to school and think, oh, they don't have anything to think about or consider. You need to say, if you hear something, you need to run, you need to hide. I mean, they need to immediately go into survival mode. Of course, they say a prayer, and then they get to running and get to hiding and doing whatever they need to do. And then lastly, on another level, thinking about the young lady that was murdered at Clark University, my heart goes out to her family, and it also goes out to the other family, because I'm sure they had no clue, that their daughter that they sent off to college would be complicit in something like this. So I think, having a different conversation with our children that we're sending to college, that if you feel that there is something wrong, that you try to get out of that situation. I don't know all the details yet, and I know they're still interviewing and talking to them, but I think that doing what is necessary to protect yourself is first and foremost. So it's a lot of conversations, but they have to be had.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And, we probably could talk about this at another time, but really just I can remember Chuck talking about how when girls choose relationships, or boys choose relationships, it not only affects them, but it affects the family. And so really teaching our daughters, in this case with the young girl, and it was her boyfriend, teaching our daughters to choose the right persons that you hang out with, your circle of influence, and who you're around. And because now one life is gone, and actually 3 lives are gone, because their lives are gone too, even though they're not physically dead, but their lives are gone. And the hearts of the parent, can you imagine? I can't even begin to imagine how that mother feels, those mothers feel. And so we just really I agree with all of us, that we have to educate and continue to talk to our children, absolutely.
And my last statement would be, you got to put your money where your mouth is. It takes more money. You got to support the police. You've got to give the teachers support. We want the best and the brightest to be there to take care of our kids. And it takes money. You just can't ask people to risk their lives and not pay them adequately, or give them adequate technology and resources. So y'all, the conversation continues. This is a deep and a heavy, heavy topic. It is heavy. And so I pray that as you comment below, that no one has personally been affected, but we are a group of girlfriends that when we say we pray, we really do pray. And I'm sure you do too. Share this conversation and follow us on social media. Be a part of our Friendship Friday. If this is your first time watching Friendship Friday, let us know. And if you've been watching us every single week, let us know what other topics you'd love to hear. What hot topics are you excited to hear from us? So, all righty.
And with that closing, let us not forget our fabulous book, with all the amazing writings in it that all of us have contributed to it, that are really encouraging. We're coming upon the Christmas holidays. You know what? And we'll be talking about it later, but we're gonna have a big sale on the book, where you can purchase the book for yourself and maybe 5 or 6 of your girlfriends, and give them the book for Christmas. So be looking for that advertisement, because it is coming to you soon.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. The conversation continues. Happy Friday. Bye-bye.